If I had stayed in America, I think I would have spent the rest of my life working harder and harder just to maintain the life I had already built. So, no, I didn't leave because I hate America. I left because I love my life so much to protect it before it became unsustainable in America. So today I'm going to tell you the real reasons I left the United States in my 50s as a single woman and why it turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. A lot of people assume they know why Americans leave. They think it's politics, retirement, or money. And even though those are parts of my story, they weren't really the heart of mine. Because the truth is, I had created a life that I really loved. I was in Austin, Texas for 23 years. I got to travel to world-class resorts around the world. I built successful businesses. I knew lots of people. Like, I wasn't trying to escape my life. But I started to look ahead. And as a single woman working in wellness, hospitality, teaching, and management, I started to ask some questions, some practical questions, which is, if inflation keeps rising and my salary stays the same, how am I going to maintain the quality of life that I've really worked so hard to create? Housing costs rising, food costs rising, gas, insurance. I didn't see how this was going to work itself out. Everything seemed to be getting more expensive and more challenging to just have a daily life. So I started to struggle. And I started to see the trajectory forward. It looked unsustainable. And I eventually had to ask myself this question. Do I want to spend the next 20 or 30 years, if I'm lucky, working harder and harder simply to stay in the same place? And the answer was no. I knew I couldn't. One of the biggest reasons I left is that I realized that there are different ways to live. I've traveled, lived, worked in over 50 countries. I've spent time all over the world, and I would come back to America each time. America seemed to be getting more and more expensive. But more than that, I started to notice people being more rushed, more stressed, people working harder than ever and feeling less secure than ever. I mean, these are people with jobs, degrees, people doing everything right. But they're still struggling with housing, healthcare, burnout, stress, isolation. I remember looking around and just saying to myself, to others, friends, strangers, coworkers, is this what we're going to do? Like, is this how this is going to be for like the next decades to come? I love America, but I also knew there were places where my money could go further, where I could save for retirement, where I could work in the wellness industry and still enjoy my life. Places where I could still have adventure, connection, financial breathing room. And once I knew these options existed, I couldn't unsee them. Another reason I left the United States really had to do with time. I had entered my 50s and I became very aware that I probably have more years behind me than I do ahead. And I don't mean that in the doom gloom way, but more like reality. But suddenly all my decisions started to feel more important. Yes, I have lived through many things in my life: grief, trauma, illness, abuse. I've already learned one of life's hardest lessons is that tomorrow isn't guaranteed. And I don't want to spend these years waiting and hoping for something else. When I first left America, I went to Thailand for about 6 months because that's been one of my homes on and off for 20 years. But something unexpected happened when I came to Vietnam. And that was a sense of feeling more at home, and my nervous system totally relaxed. For the first time in years, I felt spaciousness. And what I found here really is a quality of life that feels more aligned with my values. I have found like-minded community, but also community from all around the world with different ideas and open-minded conversations. I love that. I have found adventure, affordability, beauty, curiosity, and financial breathing room. You know, I found a place where I could still work in wellness and enjoy my life. I found a place where I could save money and still have really cool experiences. I found a place where I don't feel like I'm constantly rushing. So living abroad has really taught me that there isn't one way to live and to build a meaningful life. The blueprint that I grew up with isn't the only blueprint available. So why did I leave the United States? Not because I was running away from anything, but that I was running towards something. More possibility, more freedom, more adventure, sustainability, and more breathing room so that I can feel like my life is fully mine. And so if you have a takeaway from today, maybe it's you don't need to sell all your things. Maybe you don't need to quit your job. Maybe you don't need to move to the other side of the world. But at some point you do need to ask yourself, am I building a life that I truly love and feels alive to me? If the answer is no, it doesn't mean you have failed. It might simply mean it's time to make some different choices. And no matter how old you are, how stuck you feel, or how impossible change feels, I want you to know it's not too late. I am a testament to that. You can reinvent your life at any stage. If this video resonated with you, please leave me a comment as to how. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.